Men, this video I'm going to talk about exercises that are typically referred to as terrible in the gym, which you may be shying away from, but are actually really good, really useful, especially for men over 40. I was going to look at all the exercises and literally drag them through the coals individually, but I've managed to find some lunatic on the internet that is slagging off a bunch of exercises, and I'm going to use his video and I'm going to decipher everything and basically try not to get angry at what he's saying. But before I even get into that video, right, obviously the importance of this is, you choosing the best exercises for you as an individual with whatever mobility levels you have, whatever starting strength levels you have, and all the rest of it will help you get results quicker. You will maximise your effectiveness of your training sessions, getting better results. Simply just listening to people on the internet is not good enough. You have to just have a bit of a trial and error. And sometimes you get crazy lunatics on the internet, like this person here is absolutely mental, by the way. I'm going to try not to cut in and disrupt the flow of his video. Who am I? My name is Paul Green. I'm a former British paratrooper and Special Forces Support Group operator. I've physically trained thousands of elite men across the fence in the past decade, including some of those in the RF, a lot of those in the Royal Marines, and most in the Parachute Regiment. I've trained a wide range of individuals, gentlemen. I've trained some that are ridiculously strong, ridiculously weak, ridiculously fit, ridiculously immobile, ridiculously flexible. Some of them under the age of 20, some of them over the age of 50. So I've trained a wide range of person, and tailoring training for every individual is massively important. Anyway, this is me. I run a laser-focused online coaching service called the Longevity Program. As you can see, an absolutely marvellous squat here by a 50-year-old gentleman, 62-year-old gentleman here, awaiting shoulder surgery, working on his external rotation, shoulder mobility, and we have a marvellous split squat from someone in his late 40s. So that's me, that's what I offer the world. This is where my skills from the past decade is now laser focused into this. So this guy is slagging off a bunch of gym exercises. And before I get into debunking a few of the exercises that he's talking about, I'm just going to read you some of the comments. So notice how I just went. Instead of top comments, I went newest first. This video's life said, damn, these comments have put me off the advice in the video. The glute machine did wonders for me. I was 3 years into a health and fitness journey, everything was coming nicely, the butt was lagging behind. Dude, for real, you couldn't be more wrong. So lower the weight on the machine. Since I was young, was always suspect about the behind the neck lat pull down. It just felt wrong. I naturally switched to front, even though the fashion at the time was front. Nowadays I don't see anyone doing behind the style. Anyway. One of his exercises is behind the neck lat pull down. I got it. Stop working out. Why I have severe pain in my quadriceps even with minimal weights. So don't beep around at the gym and you'll be fine. This video, laughing emojis. People break their backs, tear muscles, and even die doing free weights at the gym. Don't blame the machine. It all depends on how you train. My advice is to not believe all these experts. If you ask 10 experts, they will give you 10 different answers. You know yourself if machines are good or not. I'm tired of all these experts, how they think they know better than everybody else. If you train, you know what works. I have never trained in all my years and anyway. Crazy spelling guy. No issues with the leg press machine. Again, somebody disagreeing with his incline Smith machine. Absolute rubbish. Leg press is much safer than barbell freeweight squatting. Gym casual in the building. I'm guessing you meant by that. I'll second the leg press option. Good for damaging your lower back. Okay, we have one person that agrees in about 20 comments. Never heard so much bullshit in a single video. Listen, gentlemen, it takes a lot to get me friggin' riled up, right? But this video, stand by. So, Smith machine. If you can perform an exercise that only can be done on a Smith machine, ... Most people use a Smith machine as an alternative to squats, deadlifts and bench press. I don't know why he's randomly got a different exercise on here. Get on with it. What's he talking about here? Up and down, range of motion. What did he say there? Barbell is forced to go up and down in a fixed straight line. Again, he's highlighting the point of the fixed straight line in a set range of motion. Squatting on a Smith machine isn't biomechanically natural. Alright. Look at the bells and whistles on this video, man. Who likes videos like this? Let me know in the comments who likes videos like this. You know, where they're just shit everywhere. Bad position. Right, we're there. Like, he says his point and then gets rid of it instantly. Like, say your point, keep it, you know, be firm on your point. Right, bad position going that your to-be joints are in. Is that just me, or is that horrendously written? Bad position going that your joints, right, this guy can't even friggin' write. Anyway, so he's clearly hitting on the Smith machine. I'm going to give him his chance to argue it. You're not going to be working your stabiliser muscles. Alright? I agree with this point, but it's not very relevant. Barbells and dumbbells. He's probably bigging up the barbells and dumbbells here. Functional strength. Right, and he's going on to the next exercise now. Wait there. Right. Before, right. That was actually relatively smooth. So, Smith machine is an alternative for a squat. A lot of people struggle with lower back pain and knee pain and stuff like that. Using a Smith machine will allow people with limited strength and limited mobility to get into the deeper ranges of a squat without having to worry about stability. So they can build strength through a full range of motion if they haven't got the flexibility to get in the end ranges. The Smith machine is a great exercise where you can safely load the targeted muscles and get really strong in the end ranges. His point about stability is pretty much null and void, because who cares about your stabiliser exercises? You work your stabiliser exercises when you're going for a run or when you're training your agility, stuff like that. Yes, of course, we may do a squat, but if your intention is to strengthen your joints through a full range of motion, but you lack the mobility to get into these end ranges, then the Smith machine is a fantastic exercise that you should be doing. I guarantee you, because it's safely loadable. What's the worst thing that can happen is that you just rotate your wrists and then you back out, your happy days. It's an awesome exercise for strengthening your muscles through a full range of motion, regardless of your age, regardless of your current mobility levels or strength. So that's that one. Am I going to slag this off? Again, bells and whistles editing on his videos. He talks a lot about stability. Right, this. This is an exercise. Lower back injury. I've never seen a lower back injury. Right. Let's see what this point is. Wow. Wow. I cannot believe he's like, what a stupid thing to say, man. Obviously. I cannot believe that I'm watching this video, man. But, you know, I'm putting myself through this and hopefully to, right. He randomly says lower back pain. This exercise, right, I'm gonna move on to I'm gonna wrap it up. Right. So this exercise is a hip abduction. There's 6 functions of the hip. Your hip goes up, it extends, it goes out, it goes in, and it rotates out and it rotates in. This exercise works the external rotation of the hip, and it basically when your leg goes out. To do that, you need to work the muscles on the outside of your hip, which is called your glute med. Again, with a fixed machine, you are locked into a safe position and you can load the outside of your glutes really safely. His 2 points to criticise this is that he said stability earlier on. He said he randomly just shouted lower back pain, and he said it doesn't help you lose fat on the outsides of your thighs. This exercise strengthens hip abduction, which is a fancy way of saying the outside of your glutes, right? It's a safe way of doing so. It doesn't require any skill level. Anybody with any strength level can do this exercise. I would love to see an alternative exercise which focuses on hip abduction. This also as well, it gets the lengthening and the shortening of the hip on the outside. He's probably like I'd really struggle, right, in him showing an exercise. I'd love to see him show an exercise as an alternative for this, because I think he showed lunges and stuff earlier on. Right, look, he's talking about stability. Not interested, right? The exercise that he's chose to criticise is focusing on moving your leg outwards, right? And it strengthens solely that range of motion. This doesn't do that. This is a solution, is a lunge. Yes, a lunge is a good exercise, but using this to back up his point about the Smith machine, the hip abduction exercise being terrible is absolutely false. Anyway. My God, I can't keep up with this shite editing, man. I cannot keep up with it. Am I on too fast? Am I going too fast here? What's going on, right? Playback speed normal. Am I really going to have to slow this down? Especially if you have issues with your lower back. So, I'm going to play this slowly now. Right, look. You can't even see people doing the exercise. I was going to say, if... I'm not going to criticise that. I'm going to let him say his points. Issues with lower back. Leg press is safer. Alternative to barbell squats. Your back is pinned against the pad. Who cares about a natural lumbar curve? Knees are bent. What's wrong with knees being bent? Your pelvis will begin to round forward like it does at the bottom of a squat. If you tense your core here, this doesn't happen. Right, Stuart McGill is all about the bracing of the spine. He loves the spine not moving, being very strong and structurally sound. So he will disagree with anything that makes the spine move. The spine is supposed to move. Why is everybody scared to move the spine? The reason they are scared to move the spine is because they aren't strong enough to move the spine. Agree with this point? Right. Let me just What the hell is wrong with that? What is wrong with that? Listen, right, it's absolute bollocks, right? I can't believe this guy's getting so much engagement out of me. Right, listen. Right, how many people can do a full range of squat, full range of motion squat? How many people can do a full range of motion lunge? And how laudable, listen, how laudable is a full range of motion lunge? How safe is it to add weight onto your lunges? Like, are you confident with barbell on your back, 60, 70 kilos plus 40, 100 kilos, 120 kilos? Bulgarians is a good exercise. I'm not going to criticise that. I'm not going to criticise any of these exercises. I have my own philosophy on the longevity program. I like squats, but I like heels elevated squats because I'm working with gentlemen with limited, usually less mobility than your average person. I like to get the range of motion. How many people can squat like this? Talking absolute crap. He's not specific to the average person. Anyway, he's going to go into some theory and then probably cut it off within 5 seconds. What else does he say? Stability. Stability means that's not a full range of motion squat. Right there. So he slags off leg press. He slags off leg press. Watch. So he's saying squats and lunges. So fatigue yourself out with squats and lunges, and then add leg press at the end as a finisher when you've just blasted yourself with squats and lunges. So he says this exercise is not safe enough. This exercise is not safe enough to do normally, but it's safe enough to do at the end of your session when you're fatigued. This person needs a slap. So now he's actually saying it's pretty good. Gentlemen, right, I'm going to cut in here and I'm going to probably do one more of his exercises and then I'm going to call the video there because I'll be here for 45 minutes and I know you've got things to do. Right, being safely locked in, having your hands against a pole and allowing all that is necessary. Yes, there's a bit of lumbar flexion, there's your core that has to work in order to press, but the biggest thing that's happening here is your knees are extending. Slowly they are flexing and then your knees are extending. Your glutes are also helping out with pushing that weight as well. You're fixed in, there's no stability that is needed. You can focus purely on loading all these plates in order for you to hit certain rep ranges to achieve your goals of building huge quads and huge strength in your glutes. You can manipulate the foot position, right, to focus on different parts of your quads. Now, I like the leg press in certain regards in the longevity program because I like to focus on a little part of the quad that rarely ever gets worked when you're doing squats. And it's this part here, your VM, vastus medialis. Vastus medialis is crucial to strengthening the ACL, which is the biggest ligament in the knee. This guy that is saying this is an absolute shambles doesn't appreciate that most people can't get into a full range of motion squat. But an exercise where there's no stability required means that you can load more than you would with an exercise where stability is required. Think about this. His theory throughout this was stability, right? He's arguing that, oh, you're not using your stabilising muscles. Right, why don't you stand on an exercise ball and do squats then? if stability is your most important thing. Focus on stability another time if you really want to have a stabilizer type of goal. But this, changing your foot position slightly and really focusing on knee flexion, you know, where your heel actually comes right down. Mint, really good for strengthening your knees in certain regards, and more importantly strengthening your knees, but then as a secondary benefit, you're going to strengthen your quads loads because there's nothing else to worry about. Now, we can say about the knee, the lower back and stuff like that. Right, if you've got lower back issues, jump on a call with me, we'll sort them out. But poor rationale, leg press. I'm going to do one more, gentlemen. What's this one? I've never seen this exercise. Oh my god, he's slagging off the lat pull down. Let's see this. So lat pull down is one of my fundamental movements on my assessment week. So that's a shoulder press and that's a pull down. That's a lat pull down behind the neck. Behind the neck lat pull down. So he doesn't like behind the neck lat pull downs. You have to lighten the weight because you're back weaker in that position. He just puts a random video of a shoulder joint and hopes for the best. Right, the lat pull down is not a bad exercise, right? Like he's showing here, it actually gets fairly close to full range of motion of the lats. And now if you come behind your back, yeah, you do, it's not bad, it's not terrible, but yeah, it's suboptimal. He's absolutely rinsing it off. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. In front of you, you will allow your shoulders to move through and on more normal range of motion. So, okay, I kind of agree with this behind the neck lat pull down exercise. Right, here we go. I can get him on this one. Okay. So, let me tell you, right, the abdominal muscles, their job is to flex the spine. That is their job, right? They will obviously be stabilizer muscles for other muscles that are getting worked, but like for example, if you were doing a deadlift, your abs would provide stability to the deadlift, but they wouldn't be the primary movers moving this, they wouldn't be flexing the spine. Like in a plank, your abs are stability. So the primary role of the abs is to flex the spine. With that in mind, let's see why he doesn't like. Is he going to actually address one of these? Get on with it. Imagine being so like limited, so like fixed in your mindset that the only thing you can come back to is stability. Mate, you can't talk about stability as being the be all and end all. Sometimes people just want to strengthen their muscles. If this is the goal, then fucking do a squat on an exercise ball and talk to me about stability. Mental. Anyway, his reason for this exercise is that apparently you sit down all day, so you don't want to be in a sitting position when you're in the gym. Now, if you train your stability muscle, your abdominal muscles and your hip flexors, because every time you do this, you kind of work your hip flexors as well, you are working muscles that have been like literally redundant all day. Working them muscles will get blood and nutrients and strength in them areas, which are very weak and very tight throughout the day. There's a misconception in the fitness industry that you shouldn't train muscles that are tight because it'll just make them more tight. That couldn't be further from the truth. I don't know why it is, but people are like, oh, my hip flexors are really tight, so I don't do leg raises to train my hip flexors. You should train areas in which you're tight, and arguably you should be training them more often than those areas that are loose. But that's a completely separate discussion. Gentlemen, we have talked about, let me just go back, the Smith machine. I'm going to get off this video. He's really got under my skin here with some of these. Gentlemen, right, the first exercise he talked about was the Smith machine. The Smith machine, for people that don't have the range of motion to do a full range of motion squat, the Smith machine is phenomenal for strengthening your joints. Now, we can make the arguments all he wants about stability, right? But at the end of the day, your joints are more stable because you have strengthened them through an increased range of motion. Men, I'm going to leave it there, half an hour in. Hopefully you enjoyed and appreciated that. That video got under my skin a little bit. And obviously I give it back to you. Hopefully you've learned something. And yeah, in a nutshell, don't stay away from exercises that help you get into greater ranges of motion. Don't shy away from exercises that work the muscles in which you are trying to work extremely well. See you more.